Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new podcast of what is this again, Chris? Horror. Dead Air.
Jesus
Horror
fucking
podcast.
Christ!
My God.
Dead Air, a horror
This is like
podcast.
episode 500.
Let's do this again, Miguel. One more time, you can do it.
Maui PV, keep everything.
Jesus.
Hello, everyone.
Pwedeng huwag kalat. Oh my God, Miguel.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Air, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Dead Air, our horror podcast. I'm Miguel. I'm usually the guy who's afraid to watch these horror films. I got roped in by my buddy named
Chris,
it's
that's
you.
me. Around these parts, I like to call myself the horror fanatic. And our last host is somewhere in between myself and
the
Miguel.
best. Is so amazing, the last host, whoever that is. Oh, that's me. Hello. I'm Aaron, and I am the fan of horror movies, meaning I am not a film people where, I analyze by frame and, the story and symbolism. I'm not like that. I'm here to watch horror and get scared and love it. And I'm very excited because we have actually someone with us who has written some horror stories, some horror movies. But it's really interesting because our next guest did not just write some horror movies. He's written for rom-coms and action films as well. With movies under his belt such as She's the One, Maybe This Time, Seclusion, By Bust, The End, and Sunod. Everybody, let's welcome Anton Santamaria. Ow!
Woot woot.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
Welcome
Hi.
to the podcast. So happy to have you here.
Welcome,
I'm so happy
Anton.
to be here as well. Thank you.
How have you been? How was your day?
It's been pretty lazy, actually. One of the rare times I don't have to
Same.
write anything. So, because it's crazy, with the quarantine, everything, you'd think that writing would slow down, but actually, it's been hectic for me during the
Really?
lockdown period. Yeah.
Wow,
It's
it
Good
is that-
problem to
it
have.
has not been a productive
Yeah.
quarantine for me at all.
Because I think, since writing is the safest thing to do during the quarantine, that's what everybody's trying to get
They're
done.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
no, like I'm sure clients aren't saying, you don't have to go anywhere. I guess you can write for us. That's a bit.
Yeah.
True.
Do they still respect boundaries like time or no, not it? Your own personal
Um,
time
So far,
happens to me.
it's
Okay
been pretty good.
All right, lucky
yeah.
you.
Awesome.
Right.
Great. So we're a horror podcast and we're here to hear your views on a bunch of things horror related. Being such a well, you're obviously a fan of the genre because you've got quite the resume in the genre. What we usually ask our guests right off the bat is what is your own personal horror origin story? How did you get into the genre?
I got into the genre. Actually, it's directly related to the movie that we're going to discuss today. Because what inspired me to become a horror writer or a screenwriter in general, actually, was when I watched the movie Se7en. And I watched it at an age that I shouldn't have watched it. I watched it around 1996. I was 11 years old. And of course, it's an R18 film.
Yeah,
So
that's
I didn't totally get it at the time. But
that might be a good thing that you didn't get it at the time.
I think my parents rented it on VHS when renting tapes was still a thing, and I watched it one night when nobody was watching me, and then I fell in love with how the story was told, how it looked, and right there, then and there, I said I want to get into filmmaking, but I wasn't so keen on the technical aspects, the directing part. I said I wanted to write stories, and unfortunately, here in the Philippines, we don't really have crime thriller, genre, so to speak. So the next best thing is horror, and through horror, I can tell my thriller stories or my crime stories, and that's what I thought. So that's how I got into horror, and that's how I started loving the horror genre as well. Because the horror genre is it's kind of easy to get into for a lot of people because scaring the feeling of getting scared is fun when you know you're not gonna get stabbed, of course, in real life. So,
did you hear that, Miguel? Getting scared is fun.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
it is.
Getting scared is fun, and it's even more fun to scare other people. So,
Ah.
so that's where the writing comes in. That's where the writing comes in.
Where do you get your inspiration from to write these stories? Are they based on truth, or are they based on things that you've heard, or do you just make it up?
So for Seclusion, there was actually a story. It was actually a story from Eric Mati, I think. He had a friend or a staff member who told him about this ritual of priests secluding themselves before, or deacons secluding themselves before being ordained. And from there, we started talking about how we could turn that into a horror movie. With Sunod, it was inspired by there were a lot of horror stories in call centers, because I used to work in a call center as well. Before I became a screenwriter, I was a call center agent, and so from there I heard a lot of stories about it, about those. Everybody knows about Junjun, that kid who seems to be in every call center.
Oh my God!
And then, so I wrote a story for that, and then when Carlo came on board, that's when it evolved to what became Sunod.
Cool.
On film. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wait, I'm actually really interested to know about June, who is in all the call centers. Can you tell us about that? So there's a child ghost in a lot of call centers?
Yeah. It became famous because of this Kapuso Jessica Soho episode, I think.
Wow.
And
Miguel is, I guarantee you, Miguel is Googling that right now.
Actually, no.
And I think it's just also the nature of call centers, usually staying up, wee hours of the night, bright lights, everybody's tired,
You're seeing things.
Yeah, you're seeing things. There are a lot of stories about seeing stuff in their monitors or hearing whispers in their headphones. Well, yeah. So, and I guess it's also to remove their mind of work. They
sure. The mundane.
They spread these stories. Yeah.
You gotta find something exciting in the mundane to get through it. Kaya pala, it's funny to me that you were actually in a call center once. That explains the authenticity of the movie.
Yeah.
we had an insider pala this whole time.
That was very important to me. I know at least the language, how they talk, how they interact.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, jumping on to the movie you chose. So apparently it is part of your horror origin story. The movie Se7en. Miguel, would you like to give us a
classic
very
David
quick
Fincher? Sure.
Classic David Fincher. Yes.
I've
Tell
seen
us what it's
Se7en
about, Miguel.
I've seen Se7en twice, maybe, but not recently. So it stars Morgan Freeman as this grizzled, about to retire cop, I think, and Brad Pitt, his partner, who's young, he's bright-eyed, he has a pretty wife in Gwyneth Paltrow, and they're tasked to solve this sort of serial killer. I keep forgetting if they established at the very beginning the serial killer, or in some way, somewhere along the way, oh shit, it's just one person killing all these things and all these people. And the murders, or the attempted murders, they have a common theme, and it's the 7 deadly sins. So yeah, that's the whole movie. They're kind of chasing this murderer who's kind of also smart enough to bait them until it comes to a chilling conclusion.
A chilling conclusion.
What's in the box?
Inside the
box.
What's
in the box?
What are our opinions about this movie? Go on.
Where do we start? Where do we start though? Because Like this is a masterpiece. I mean,
how about let's start with Anton. What was the thing that struck you the most about this film? And we'll see if it's the same for us.
To be honest, everything. Because, well, the twist, of course, is, that ending, how it played out.
Right.
We can spoil. We can spoil. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, the movie was great even before that. But then they hit you with that what's in the box moment. And, Gwyneth Paltrow's head, at least it's implied that her head is in that box. And it was all part of the plan of John Doe, brilliantly played by Kevin Spacey. When you get to that point, it's almost impossible to not go wow or, holy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we curse in this spot?
Yeah, please.
You can absolutely curse.
Holy shit.
Please do.
Holy shit moment.
And parang I think I love that they went even as far as keeping his name off the credits. See Kevin Spacey, like all the promo materials, parang he wasn't credited, he wasn't listed in the posters. Yeah. Yun lang naman. So it would really surprise you in the end.
And you know what's crazy?
I actually found it interesting.
You know what's interesting is that ending almost didn't even happen. Because because the producers when Andrew Kevin Walker, the writer of Se7en, submitted it, they loved it, but they said the ending was too negative, it was too dark, so they made him rewrite it to a more the typical action crime thriller ending.
Oh no!
You chase the bad guy, and then fortunately for us, they sent the wrong script to David Fincher. They sent they accidentally sent the one with what's in the box ending, and then he said, "I won't do it if we change the ending." And then Brad Pitt also said, "I want the what's in the box ending, or else I'm out of this film." So they were pressured. The producers were pressured into doing it. So thankfully,
yeah.
I think actually heard that after that movie came out, Kevin Spacey was pulled over by a cop for speeding. And when the cop saw his face, he just let him go. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Natakot.
Obviously, you were talking about pre-cancelled Kevin Spacey. Parang ang galing din ng roles at that time. Like Usual Suspects. Parang he was very good at exploiting his very everyday features. And then parang turning out to be a very menacing character pala. Amazing.
Because he was basically playing himself this whole time.
Okay.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Darkness. A predator.
Why are we laughing?
It wasn't pala a role, no? It was him just being himself.
The real Kevin Spacey pala future.
So there's so much to talk about this movie. I mean, we can talk about Fincher, we can talk about Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, that amazing script by Andrew Kevin Walker. Man, the visuals, like where do you want to start? Even, that opening sequence, which was ripped off by countless music videos over the years, over the decades. This movie is so iconic. It's gonna go down in history as one of those greats mentioned in the same breath as Silence of the Lambs and everything. So there are so many things to talk about, but what I love about this choice is how we can direct this conversation in using that age-old question: where does a thriller end and a horror film begin? Because this is the perfect movie for that. We've had our sister podcast and Slate discuss this about whether this movie is a thriller or a horror film. So that's something we can start off with. I think, because it's a very important question. We all have our answers. I would love to hear yours, guys. But maybe we'll start with Anton.
Yeah.
Horror versus thriller. Se7en.
I think, technically, Se7en is a crime thriller, psychological crime thriller. But it has a lot of horror elements that actually it's done even better than a lot of horror movies. The suspense, the mystery. For me, if I were to label Seven as a horror, maybe not. But a lot can be learned from it. A lot of horror writers or horror enthusiasts can learn a lot from it about the horror genre still. Because, horror is not just about the jump scares or, the ghosts or the monsters. It's also about the, holding the tension and, scaring you in a different way. Because by the end of Seven, and this actually was partially influenced how I wrote Seclusion and even Sunod, was because I didn't want to write, just for the jump scares, just for the cheap scares. The sustained horror, that sustained tension, that by the end of the film you still hold on to it. It lingers, and you want to talk about it with other people. Yeah, so horror can be a lot deeper than just the scares, and good case for that is Seven, a good example of how to do that.
Yeah.
Sure. How about you guys,
That's
Aaron,
true.
Miguel?
Well, if we're going to be talking about horror the way we've been talking about it in the past, when we said that something is horrifying, then it falls into the horror genre. And I would say all the deaths that happened, the way they happened, was pretty horrifying. And if you think about it, it kind of mixes also the idea of a serial killer and religious. It has a little bit of that religious horror vibe also, that all these deaths are happening in the name of what? Seven deadly sins. So
a biblical concept, biblical or Catholic
Right.
concept, I guess. Yeah.
exactly. And then, so I would say that, this is, although it is a crime thriller, I would call it horror because Kevin Spacey is a psycho.
And
Well,
parang-
yeah, that's true.
and it really works as this thriller / horror film, I guess, because even if some of the scenes are in daytime, like the chase scenes or even some of the crime scenes they visit are at daytime, parang palpable pa rin yung parang, oh my God, I can't believe they're going down this hallway, or I can't believe they're gonna poke into this empty house or something. It's amazing,
And
And even-
the whole lair, his lair was so
Yeah.
freaky.
Yeah.
That cross above the bed, ano yon? So, yeah, I would say that was horror.
Also,
And even that reveal. Sorry, go ahead, Anton.
I was just gonna add that also that decision to make the city nameless.
Yes.
It kind of feels like it can happen anywhere. Adds some
Right.
realistic horror to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying, Miguel?
No, even the reveal of Kevin Spacey, diba? Like when he virtually turns himself in, diba? He walks in lang. And if I remember correctly, the
Yes.
shot is just like the camera rising, I think, and then revealing him in the hallway in the middle of this busy police precinct. Parang galing din ng unmasking, even if it's the villain unmasking himself. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The monster
Pretty cool.
unmasking himself pala. Yeah.
For me naman, I really think that it's your definition of horror is subjective, absolutely, 100%. But I sincerely believe that Seven is a horror movie. Of course, it's a crime thriller. I sincerely believe it's a horror movie in the sense that its overall treatment really is as a horror film. All these elements are horrifying. For me, that's the difference between a thriller and a horror film, is if the intent is to horrify. Like something like, you have a killer in the movie Speed, Dennis Hopper, that's a thriller. But if the entire treatment of the script, how you set things up, the ambience of the film, the music, the score, the reveals, is to set out to horrify you in the way that John Doe horrified me. I sincerely believe that Seven is a horror film for me. Again, of course, that's a very subjective thing. The lines between a horror and a thriller are overlap and blur in so many ways. Perfect example would be a Hitchcock film. When is he? He's known as a master of suspense, but what do you call this? Psycho is horror, but The Birds is horror. But something like Rear Window is probably more of a thriller. You know, it's really a thin line, a very thin line. But for me, Se7en really crossed that line into the horror territory in the same way that if we consider Silence of the Lambs a horror film, that's how I would categorize Se7en. No, but that's just me. And again, horror is really subjective. So I really love the fact that you chose Se7en, because we finally had this conversation. Because this is a conversation that I think we should have had maybe even earlier in this podcast. So that's super cool. That Se7en is the perfect venue for this. Look at everyone looking at their notes.
I know.
Who has the most Se7en trivia?
Oh, wait, sorry. One more thing I like about Se7en pala. Like any horror film, parang it kind of also, it has this parang breathing. It will always have that scene that lets the audience breathe a little, but still have that sort of underlying horror, parang waiting in the wings. And for me, it's that scene where Morgan Freeman's character visits the family of Brad Pitt for dinner with sila Gwyneth Paltrow. And parang,
what a great scene. No?
That's a great scene because it's even the setting is such a character. Like parang there's a train passing through every now and then. And parang I think that's where Gwyneth, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I might jump. But that's where Gwyneth kind of insinuates or implies na she's pregnant yata with their baby. That's why, which makes it even more mabigat later on when you find her head in the box.
I know. My God.
Yeah, that was the only light scene in the entire movie. The entire movie is so dark and oppressive and moody.
Yeah. But it's still a setup for another emotional beat later on. It's actually excellent writing.
Yeah.
Somebody get it. That writing's fantastic.
It is.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I like the character of Morgan Freeman so much.
Yeah.
That he was so... the contrast between the two characters. Because parang Brad Pitt is constantly trying to prove himself. Hey, I already did these cases. But you can see the way they approach the cases is so different. Like with Morgan Freeman, he will go through all those journals and read it. And then there's that scene where Brad Pitt just had someone buy him the Cliff's Notes to Dante's Inferno.
Hilarious.
So you kind of see... It's so different. You see the calm, wise old man, and then you see the barumbado, like, I'm going to knock down the door and stuff like that. So it was such an interesting partnership.
Yeah.
And in the end, you see that they were very supportive of each other. So I found that so interesting, the dynamic.
That whole dynamic can be a trope, not the grizzled.
Is it?
No, the grizzled world-weary detective and the brash partner. But the way they did it was just so it was just so perfect. Honestly, I mean, and then Brad Pitt's character, Mills, was so consistent. He was he's such an impatient young guy.
Yeah, impulsive.
He's so impulsive. He's so impulsive. He's so impatient. He acts without thinking. He kicks the door open. He, without a search warrant. So that ending is perfect for his character. He knows the consequences of his actions, but he does it anyway because that's just who he is. So that's one of those things I love about the writing. Go ahead, Anton.
No, even from the first time they meet, that long shot where they're walking down the sidewalk. If you guys remember that in their interaction, you already just from the dialogue, they're not doing anything but walking. They're looking at each other, talking. But just from how they speak, the words they say, how they interact with each other, you already know that they're gonna bump heads. Somebody who's about to retire and then somebody who just transferred into the city looking for action. So already an interesting dynamic just from a single scene, them meeting without even a single cut.
I was actually watching this video on YouTube, and Se7en was used as an example of how shots are able to already convey a story just by a shot. So the scene that they showed was when they were trying to figure out something together in the office, and parang Morgan Freeman was closer to the camera and Brad Pitt was at the back, and it parang even just that daw, those little shots kind of show that the dynamic between them was it would get blurry with Brad Pitt because he wouldn't understand. And then when he would understand, the camera would focus on him and it would be clear. And then Morgan Freeman would always be clear because he was the wise guy. Parang ganon. So I find it very interesting as a non-film person that people take the time to come up with things like this. It's not just a story in words. It's a story when you look at the shots. Wala lang, galing.
Guys, we are slowly turning Aaron into a film person. We are slowly converting her, guys. It's working. It's working.
Okay.
Objective number 2 being achieved.
Aaron becomes a film person.
Aaron becomes a film person, and Miguel becomes a horror fan. It's working.
That was the plan all along.
So, man, we've gone this long for the episode, and we haven't even talked about Fincher yet.
I know.
That's actually
Ayaw
what
talk
we
about
of
him.
Fincher.
Wala akong
Because,
alam dyan.
no, that scene we were talking about, Aaron, was actually a perfect intro to Fincher because that's
exactly.
That's how Fincher works. He thinks about everything. He every minute detail. I mean, Se7en was shot in 55 days, I think. And that's just the wiki page telling me. So
our main source. Yeah.
So 55 days is a long time, especially for, I think this was just Fincher's second movie.
I was gonna say
first
this
was
isn't his
Alien.
debut. Alien 3 was his first.
Alien 3. Yeah.
Did he write this or was it based on like a book?
No,
Or something?
the other guy wrote it. See,
Andrew
Kevin Walker.
Yeah.
Oo nga pala. We mentioned him earlier.
And then after this, he
He's
does
a
the
messed
game.
up mind.
Yeah, the game.
Another incredible movie.
I haven't seen this.
Will I like it? Feeling ko I won't.
Yes, you will. You will. No, Aaron, you will.
I like it. Okay.
Yes,
The game.
it's a
think you'll
crowd pleaser
understand.
in the game.
I mean, it's almost impossible to hate any Fincher film. I mean, that's my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even Panic
I
Room.
haven't seen a lot, so-
What are your feelings on Panic Room?
I love
Panic Room with Jodie
Well,
Foster?
Yeah, that's him.
I think-
yeah.
I think Panic Room was I think the script was the weak
Weakest
part of
thing.
Panic
Yeah.
Room. Yeah.
But kasi with Fincher, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Because the performances were great. The directing was
Kristen
great.
Stewart.
I mean,
It's Kristen Stewart, diba? The kid.
yeah, the
Yes,
kid,
it is.
the kid, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Jodie Foster and who's that? The guy, I forgot his name.
What do you call this?
The burglar, the invader.
Yeah. The
forget
one
his
in
name.
the Last King of Scotland.
Yes. His name isn't he in Braveheart? Wasn't he the brute? Oh, what's his name? Shit, mali na click kong link.
Forrest Whitaker?
Yeah, Forrest
No.
Whitaker. There.
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker. I hate that guy.
Oh, that's Miguel's favorite actor.
Why do you hate him?
I forgot that he was in the Panic Room. My head hurts.
Why? Why do you hate him?
Miguel
Whatever.
irrationally hates him.
Yeah. First of all,
Because of his
I will
eye?
admit.
Because of his eye.
First of all, I'm willing to admit naman na it's an irrational hate. But whenever they have that poll on our brothers on End Slate asking who's the actor who ticks you off the most, for me it's always Forrest. I don't know, parang ang OA lang, and he has these literally acting tics that kind of annoyed him. Anyway, back to Panic Room. Panic Room, even for me, if it wasn't my favorite Fincher, I will be the first to say na parang it's still well crafted. Parang those shots are still well thought of, well planned, well executed. Like he has a couple of really great shots there where it goes through the wall, the camera goes through the wall or something, or a keyhole, I forget. But anyway, he's very good at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a Scientologist.
Yeah. Oh, who?
Wait,
Who is?
who's the Scientologist?
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker is a Scientologist.
No,
He's in
is
the
it?
movie with
Oh,
John Travolta, the Aliens one.
Oh yeah,
I love
Battlefield
that.
Earth.
I was gonna
Oh, I did
say
not know.
Phenomenon.
Battleship Earth. Oh, Battlefield Earth. Yeah.
Culty.
Um,
Culty vibes.
yeah. So let's do less Battlefield Earth and more David Fincher. Let's go back
Okay,
to the
tell
good
me, what
movies.
else has he done? What else has he done? Because Panic Room, I was very young when it came out, so I don't really remember.
The Curious
So
Case
Se7en.
of Benjamin Button.
Oh, I don't know if I like that one.
Social Network.
Social Network.
Oh, I like that one.
Zodiac.
Zodiac.
I like that one.
Gone Girl.
Okay, so I generally like this guy. All right.
Girl with the
David
dragon
Fincher.
tattoo.
Yeah, Girl with Dragon. The American version. Yeah, the
So he
American
likes
version.
this dark stuff all the time.
Yeah. I
He's a
actually
dark boy.
what's funny to me is that I used to I miss collecting physical copies of movies. I had a huge Blu-ray collection, and then that's when I discovered that I just discovered that out of all the directors on my list, I had the most copies of his films, and I was like, "Oh fuck, he must be one of my
Wow.
favorite directors." Like it was a slow realization. It wasn't like oh my god, he's my favorite director. It was something I was like, wow, he's really like on my pantheon without me even realizing it. I had a copy of pretty much everything. I think, especially all his dark stuff. That's my thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so big Fincher fan right here, and I'm sure Miguel is too.
See, the
Somewhere.
reason I can't really contribute is because I feel like I don't have a favorite director. That's not the first thing I look at when I see a movie. I look at who's there, I look at the story. So wala lang, I find it interesting. So David Fincher is one of your favorite directors. Okay,
Wow.
okay. All right.
And I'm assuming he's one of Anton's favorite directors too.
Oh,
he
he's
got him
my-
into horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my
Got him
favorite
into
director.
screenwriting.
Definitely my favorite director. Yeah.
As in ultimate, Anton.
Yep.
Number
Yep.
one.
Yeah.
Just to add to
Close second, see Denis Villeneuve, but Fincher number one.
just to add to
Yes, we
Fincher.
heard the voice of God.
Yeah, because Fincher's one of my favorites then. And just to illustrate how obsessive he can get. Like, you all know about Social Network and how the twins, the Winklevoss twins were
Yeah.
played by the same actor. When in fact they had the double, body double, and then the face of what's his face? Zorro.
Army Hammer.
Army
Army
Hammer
Hammer
was,
was CG'd
Hammer,
onto
yeah.
the face of the double, right? But
Yeah.
Fincher
Right.
has done
Yeah.
this in his previous movies where he stitched the face of the actor onto different takes because he liked this take, but he liked the performance from this take, but he wanted it on this frame, on this other take. So he Frankenstein shots of multiple takes into one to get his perfect shot. Yeah, he's
That's
Wow.
you know what's funny? That's what George Lucas used to do on Phantom Menace.
yeah, and Fincher perfected it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Fincher perfected. Yeah.
Anyway, voice out.
So yeah. So Miguel, we were
Sorry.
just saying, where does David Fincher stand in your director pantheon?
Parang I haven't really thought about it. I know I'm a big fan of some of his movies. Like, hold on, I'm gonna launch the like. There are movies of his that I really love, but I've never really, unlike our friends and our film friends, who like I'm sure he's in this everybody's top 5, but I haven't really took the time to place him. But Zodiac is one of my favorite movies ever. I love The Social Network.
Same.
There's one more. I love The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, actually. So he has, like, when I look back, oh shit, he's got a great record in my mind, pala, right? But, and I,
Just like me, dude. That's exactly how I described it.
Oh shit, I missed it.
It was
sayang.
like, yeah, I love all his films, and then I just realized I had all of his films, and I'm like, oh shit, he must
Yeah.
be one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, parang ganyan. But, yeah. But remember, like, how, it's hard naman to compare, like, but what he, like, sometimes I like a lot of Ridley Scott movies pala, even if he's not, I wouldn't think he's one of my favorites, but yeah.
Mhm.
Parang,
Sure.
like, I think anytime a director, kita naman when a director's really invested in his craft, and parang that's easy to appreciate all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there
Yeah.
like are most of the directors you like also director writer? Because I noticed that there are a lot of those yung written and directed by blank.
Yeah. More
Has
like
David
that.
Fincher done that?
I
don't think so.
He does.
I
write
think
his
he
own stuff.
mostly directs.
He's a visual guy.
Yeah.
He's very
And-
visual. He's got a very distinct visual style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's very dark and moody, but he can also switch it up as well. Social
Yeah.
Network, it looks nothing like Se7en,
Seven.
which looks nothing like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which looks nothing like Benjamin Button. But he's got little things that you know it's like solely his.
Yeah.
Is a perfect auteur for the auteur theory. Very
Yeah, but-
recognizable style.
Yeah, the movies don't look the same, but you know that that's David Fincher. Even when he directed, like, was it the pilot of House of Cards or something? Like the first two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
He did. He's a showrunner siya at Simula.
Yeah.
So he and
And then-
Spacey are ganto talaga. BFF.
Just like that. But yeah, so how about your other influences, Anton? Are you do you like Fincher because he likes the dark and moody stuff, or what else do you like? Because
About
you have
Fincher
written no, in general, like your influences, because you have written rom-coms, stuff like that. So like, what general stuff do you enjoy?
Well, actually, aside from movies, I'm into video games, but that's something because the horror genre in video games is also
Got it.
I mean, horror in video games is
Do you
also
play horror
something
video
very-
games?
Not a lot. I mostly watch like on YouTube and stuff. Yeah, because
Yeah, that stuff is hard to play.
yeah, because it's an interactive genre more so than movies. So films can learn a lot. I mean, writing and directing films. You can learn a lot from video games because you see firsthand more closely how people react to scares and jump scares and so
Sure.
yeah. But
Yeah, kasi you're the one controlling it, so it's super scary.
but as for movies, I like the older stuff, The Exorcist.
Ooh, like how old?
Hitchcock, Exorcist, Poltergeist, all those classics, even the original Halloweens, and and this one's sci-fi horror. One of my favorite horror movies is also Alien by Ridley Scott.
Oh, hell yes.
So,
Alien is the first one, right?
yep,
And
Alien.
then Cameron did Aliens.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I
have
don't
to watch
like
this one
Aliens
these
so
days.
much. This might be controversial, but I don't like Aliens as much as Alien. I don't know. It's because it's more action-oriented Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Also-
both. I love both, but I'm definitely an Alien person.
I think
More than
I'll watch it to finally have an opinion about it.
Wait,
I
wait,
I
you haven't
watched
seen
it as a
Alien?
kid.
I haven't
Which
seen
one,
Alien
Aaron?
I haven't seen all three. I've seen Prometheus though, but I haven't seen any of the Alien movies. So weird. It's a gap in my pop cultural thing. Parang I haven't seen even Terminator. I don't think I've seen the first. Parang butas-butas ako ganyan minsan eh. It's weird.
That is odd.
Look at Anton's face.
I
He's
know. He's like,
dumbfounded.
why is this guy a host on a podcast?
Who gave him a microphone?
There's still time to correct your errors.
Error. Grabe. You haven't seen it. Correct your error.
Correct your error.
No, but yeah, when I saw Alien and Aliens as a kid, I remember seeing both, but I don't really remember it having an effect on me. I was very young though. Like all I remember was that stomach scene where you see the thing in the stomach.
Yeah,
I don't even know
chest
which one
burst.
that is.
The
Is
chest
that Alien
burster.
or Aliens?
The first one.
Yeah.
The first one, yeah.
Chest
Yun,
burster.
whatever that was. Yeah. So maybe, Mig, we need to
Yeah.
rewatch this because
I
I don't
will.
remember much. I don't.
Yeah,
You should,
but
yes.
I remember scenes. but I don't know to which alien movie they belong to, so I have to see exactly. Yeah.
Saan kalbo si Sigourney?
That's Alien 3. That's David
that's 3.
Fincher.
Ay, ang layo.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not even what we're...
Which again, I mean,
So, yeah.
story-wise, it wasn't great. But, you know, the early signs of David Fincher's style in Alien 3 was already there.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
look-wise...
It's something I got to like later in life. I did not like it at all early on. Watched it again recently.
Especially if you
It's
compare
easily
it,
not the worst Alien.
especially if you compare it to Alien Resurrection.
Exactly.
Was that even worth it?
Written by Joss Whedon.
Don't watch
Hey,
it.
I
no.
like him. Isn't he good? He's good, diba? Joss Whedon?
Not for
He did
aliens.
Buffy, right?
Depends on...
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm a huge Buffy fan. Oh my god, probably the biggest. But yeah, his Alien Resurrection is not good at all.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So I'm going to confess, I'm just looking at David Fincher's IMDb now, and I've seen a bunch. Fight
Yes,
Club.
you have, see?
But Fight Club,
Oh, yeah,
I've
Fight Club.
only
How did
seen-
Oh my god, we never mentioned Fight Club. Ridiculous.
We forgot.
Fight Club I only watched recently because Quark was so shocked that I hadn't seen it. As in, he found it so odd that I hadn't seen it, so he forced me to watch it.
And
You like
World
it?
War Z.
what do you think about
Yeah,
it?
I liked it. I liked it. But it's one of those things, I guess David Fincher films for me are not those films that, you know, when you're on an idle day, you just pop in and be like,
Yeah.
watch.
Yes,
I wanna
yes.
watch Seven.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
And parang he's into hyper masculinity kasi. So parang, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch Blackpink na lang or something.
Yung range ni Aaron. Blackpink.
Yeah, I do
David
have a
Fincher.
range. I do have a
Yeah.
very large range. But I do know what I don't like. And yeah.
And
we've
that is
spoken about-
Midsummer.
Yes. And Lars von Trier and you know, stuff like if someone says you want to watch a Lars von Trier, no, I've seen one movie. I'm okay. Thank you.
She's using the word someone, but she actually really means Quark and Aris. Shout out to Quark.
The guy who knows
And it's
everybody.
funny, like
Quark
he'll make
and
me
Aris.
watch something and then he'll be like, you didn't like it, no? Yeah, you know naman pala eh. So,
You know naman pala eh.
you know naman pala eh.
Awesome.
So what kind of movies don't you like at all, Anton?
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not a fan of rom-com, even though I wrote two.
Okay, valid.
Said the
My
guy
first
who
two
wrote
films
the
are-
rom-com.
Yeah.
How are you
Yeah,
able
I'm not
to
a
tie
fan of
that?
rom-coms.
You don't like it, but you had to write.
Well, I was a co-writer. I had help. I had friends with me. So yeah.
So he was held against his will and forced to write it.
Pretty
Not
much.
naman forced, but yeah, I was with Star at the time, and when rom-com was at its peak. Nowadays, diba, not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a way also to get into the biz.
Sure.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Paid my dues.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey man,
We-
I co-wrote the rom-com.
Which one was it again?
Wow.
Chris, sorry. Don't be offended.
What's that?
Which one was it again?
My candidate with
yeah.
Quark and Aris.
Oh, that's right.
Pero political rom-com naman eh. So,
Political rom-com. Political rom-com. So Anton, when you were writing your rom-com, were you like resisting the urge to sneak in like a serial killer or like fucking murder somewhere? And then were people like, dude, this is a rom-com.
I mean,
Put away the knife.
I was gonna be happy if they'd let me put a curse word there, but even just that.
That's how dark. That's how dark he went. He's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna put a curse word in this rom-com. I'm being forced to write this. At the very least, I can do is put fuck inside the script."
But even though I don't like the genre, I loved my time writing rom-com because it taught me a lot, especially since it was my first time writing.
About
I learned
love,
a lot
ganon.
about what I like. Not so
Understood.
much about love, but maybe about hate. No, I'm kidding. No, but what I learned a lot about what I like to write, what I don't like to write, how I work with others and all that. And then it's crazy because after 2 rom-coms, I suddenly jumped into horror seclusion. So parang
Wow, so that was your third film.
a world apart. Yeah.
Pero you were working
was
parents
after
that
I
naman
left.
eh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was such a shock because that was after Star Cinema already. I was freelance. And then biglang, I don't know if you guys know Ayes de Guzman. He just messaged me and then, Eric Mati is looking for a writer. I gave your name. He'll give you a call.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Okay.
That's amazing.
And then I thought when I was going into the meeting with Eric, I thought, oh, he's gonna, test me or something like an interview, if we'll jive or whatever. But as soon as I sat down and he came in, okay, so we have this movie. It's about the deacons going to seclusion. I'm like, wait. What's happening? And, we haven't even formally met and all that. But then, the rest is history.
Rest is history. It's funny, the whole horror world is so small. We already have so many connections with you and everyone. Like we had Phoebe Walker on. She
yeah,
was
no,
on
the horror
Seclusion.
connection here. Parang
Yeah.
everybody just knows each
Yep.
other.
We had Carlo Ledesma on for Sunod.
Right.
Now you. So that's 3 connections. And then we're I don't want to spoil it,
Jasmine.
but we're trying to get Eric on the show.
Ooh,
Eventually.
damn. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. That all those connections
Yeah.
are there.
What was it like working on a horror set? Were you there? Were you watching as they were shooting, or did you just submit?
No. Because Seclusion was on location, so I wasn't part of the budget to go there.
Yeah.
No, but
Understood.
I generally don't like going to sets
Okay.
because when you see what you wrote being shot, of course, while I'm
It's
writing it,
different in your head.
it's different in my head, or the actor changes a line, or a scene gets cut out, no longer going to be shot. So being on set actually kind of hurts because
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You're killing your baby, kind
sure.
of, in a way.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just be after submitting the script. I'd rather just step back, be an audience member when I go watch the movie on the big screen, and just appreciate that it got made. That my words
Right.
turned into picture and sound.
Words turning into something visual. I'm sure that's a different kind of fulfillment for you.
Yeah.
Which was your most fulfilling movie to date? Like you saw it and you were like, yeah, exactly. That's how I wanted it to be.
It's a hard question.
Is it hard because it's none? Joke lang.
I'd say, okay, my answer is solely because of the experience of watching it was great. Sunod is my answer because the cinema they used, I think it was somewhere in the Manila Bay area, the Ayala Mall by the Bay or something, and it was a huge cinema
for the premiere.
Yeah, for the premiere, like top-notch sound system, and so that wow factor was just there during the premiere. So that's my answer, only because of that. But they're all the movies are all my babies script-wise. So
Yeah.
it's really hard to choose.
Anton, I have a writer question. As a writer, are screenplays your favorite medium, or are you also open into writing like short stories or a novel, or even like something like nonfiction? Are those things that interest you, or is it straight up I just want to make movies?
Right now, I do think about writing like short stories and novels. Especially since writing a short story is basically one step of writing a screenplay because you have to write it
Yeah,
as a storyline
exactly, yeah.
basically, and then develop it
Yeah.
into a screenplay. But to write a short story and release it as is for a novel, maybe not, because it's
Yeah.
so much harder,
Okay.
especially a novel. It's so much
Yeah.
harder to write a novel. In my opinion, I wouldn't know where to start. As for nonfiction,
It's true.
I'm a fan of nonfiction, but as an audience, as a reader of it, but not as a writer of it, because that's even harder. You know,
Got
all
it.
the
Yeah.
research and the. I like reading it because it inspires. You know,
Yeah.
it inspires fiction in me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I get it. Yeah. Interesting. Galing. I'm always
Awesome.
like,
Well,
I'm a big fan. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
how's your quarantine life going, dude? Earlier you said that it's been pretty productive. Do you have
Yeah.
a bunch of stuff coming up in the
I
pipeline?
do
And
actually.
more importantly, are they horror related?
Ooh.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
So I think I'm okay. So I guess I can talk about these things since they've been announced. They've been announced, but well, right now, Mikael Red is shooting a script I wrote called Arisaka. It's
Nice.
like it's an action thriller. They're shooting on location. I don't know when that will come out, but yeah. And then I'm also part of the writing team of Half Worlds season 3. You guys know Half Worlds?
Ooh,
Yes.
tell us about that.
Yeah,
But
it's
please give us a quick intro.
so Half Worlds is an original TV series by HBO Asia. The first season was in the first two
Thai?
seasons are in Thailand, and then I think it
Thailand,
was,
right? Yeah.
and Indonesia. I think that's it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and then the third season is gonna be in the Philippines.
Oh my God.
But
that's
I mean those.
exciting.
So those things were delayed because of quarantine and all that, of course. So
Of course.
yeah,
Sure.
but those are in the works, and I think they're the only two things that were. There are a lot of other things that I'm working on, but those are the two things that I think I can talk about because they were already announced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Super exciting, dude. Very
Yeah.
looking forward to that.
Thank you.
So, guys,
I love how you said that your writing now has become busier over the quarantine. Why
Yeah.
do you think that is? Is it because people are just starved for more content, or I don't
'Cause
know?
we're
There are a
go-
lot
we're-
of people that
because
are
we're gonna
not
need
busy.
more content.
Yeah, and
We're gonna
Yeah.
need a lot more content if we're gonna be stuck indoors.
also
Forever.
also I think studios are trying to get a lot of concepts so that when the quarantine drops and everybody can start filming properly again, they have the content.
they're ready.
The content, yeah, they're ready.
Yeah.
To, and the fight now is getting concepts and stories that can be contained smaller budget.
Sure.
Since most of the movies will probably be released on smaller screens, sold to
Yeah.
Netflix, sold to whatever streaming app. So yeah, that's where the market is right now.
But I think
And-
also that it's an opportunity for better content to be made because now people can take their time, I'm assuming, as opposed to before where everything was always rushed. That's the impression that I'm getting. Like, I think this quarantine, because a lot of people were out of work for a while, there has been more time to kind of marinate on what's good instead of release lang ng release. Being able to come up with stuff that's actually different and interesting than what we usually do. So great, because I think Sunod is one of those movies for me that it's above what's considered good in the movie industry.
Thank you.
here. I'm being very kind.
Yeah.
Above what is considered
Above?
good.
Above what is considered good.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's
I mean,
a
yeah.
compliment by far.
I mean, that's always the aim. So because a good film starts with a good script. So
Absolutely.
as long as writers put in the effort, yeah.
If you could write without thinking about how much you were gonna make or what who's getting you and stuff like that. If you had full creative control of writing a screenplay, what kind of screenplay do you think you'd write?
Definitely a sci-fi horror.
Ooh.
Wow.
Like
nice.
a
We
mix,
don't have that.
a mix of Alien and Blade Runner 2049. Cyberpunkish horror.
Yeah, we have
'cause
nothing like that.
A cyberpunk Metro Manila, the dystopian cyberpunk Metro Manila horror movie. I think that would be something.
That would be so
great.
interesting. But that's a very like, if budget wasn't an issue, which it always is. Always. Grabe. What, do we have anything close to that in Philippine cinema? Like a sci-fi thing? Parang I've never heard of us having sci-fi.
Reciclo.
There are
The
few.
bong review.
Really? I haven't heard of that.
It was an MMFF movie. Reciclo. I don't know
Oh.
what year.
See? That is considered good, I'm assuming. Not
Uh,
above.
Not above what is
Not
considered
above.
good. God damn.
I want to see those. Above. Above what is considered good.
I know. Okay, so drawing, going back. Let's go back full circle and let's kind of go back to Se7, no?
Yeah.
Since we're talking about
Yeah.
films that are above what is considered
Above.
good, in in Aaron's words. Before let's kind of use this to wrap up.
Yeah.
What are your last words on Se7, everyone? Let's start with
Okay.
and let's start with Aaron. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a really good movie. I miss it. I remember it being good the first time I saw it, but it's not one of those things that you just revisit. And I was also surprised because I remember watching it as a child and now watching it again, parang a child should not see this, especially the way lust was murdered. Oh my God,
My
a child
God.
should not see this. So really shocking. But yeah, that twist really got to me. I really enjoyed it. Those are my words.
Your words, Miguel.
Oh man, I think. Oh my God, I got caught off guard. It's one of my favorite Gwyneth Paltrow.
Kanina ka pa.
It's one of my favorite Gwyneth Paltrow movies.
I'm with you.
Well, she was good in it. She was charming in it. And then
She was.
parang it was your first, for me, because I didn't see Aliens 3, it was my first preview of the craftsman that David Fincher is, parang this visual artist that he is. Na I'm super happy na even in his later movies, parang he still works hard to get his look, and I'm very happy about that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Cool. Anton,
Yeah, so
last words on Se7.
what I really love about Se7 is that it has this when you watch it, it doesn't feel old. It feels like it's relevant. I mean, beyond the horror, beyond the performances, the directing. It's especially now, it's very relevant. I just want to quote a line by John Doe.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so
Let's do it.
if you remember that scene where they're driving to the deserted location, they were driving John Doe and Mills and Somerset, and their conversation was, it's very intriguing and intense. And then John Doe says, wanting people to listen, you can't just tap them on the shoulder anymore. You have to hit them with a sledgehammer,
Yep.
and then you'll notice
I
you've
remember
got
that.
their strict attention. So just that line, it's very timeless. It's very it's very apt for today's times.
Yeah.
Today's dark
Yeah.
times.
Dark times, yeah, and with cancel culture and all that. And
Super.
so, in a way, Se7en was ahead of its time as well.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that will be copied for decades.
Classic.
But
It's a
but
classic.
but somehow it will never be topped. And I don't think there has been a movie that has topped Se7en in its genre. So yeah, I guess
Thank
maybe
you.
until David Fincher decides to top to top himself.
To top 7 until he decides it himself. Yeah, so I really can't say anything that you guys haven't mentioned already. It is a timeless film. It is awesome. It's incredible. It will be copied. It has been copied. It will be copied forever. It's one of my absolute favorite movies. David Fincher is one of my absolute favorite directors. Yeah. So really, what else is there to say other than if you guys haven't seen it, please watch it. It's an absolute classic. So
Brad's
thank
hot.
you so much. He is very hot. This is peak Brad. Thank you so much for choosing this film for our discussion, Anton. And thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of
Good
fun.
luck with your future stuff. Yeah. Thank you, Anton.
Yeah, we can't wait to see all this stuff when it comes out. So please give us a heads up internally
of course. Yeah.
When stuff is moving. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Anton.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Yay.
Night.
Night, guys.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.